Are you familiar with the story of the Hare and the Tortoise with a Ferrari SF1000? No? Well, let's tell it today. One day, a hare was mocking a tortoise for being so slow. "Do you ever get anywhere?" the hare scoffed. "Yes," replied the tortoise. "I get to places sooner than you think, and I'll prove it." The hare was very entertained at the prospect of running a race with the tortoise, so he agreed. The fox came over to act as the judge, a track was marked out, and off they went. The hare was soon out of sight, and to make the tortoise realise how ridiculous it was for him to race the hare, he took a nap by the side of the course. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going, slowly and steadily, whilst the hare was sleeping. Several hours later, the hare woke up and quickly rushed across the finish line, concerned that the tortoise had won whilst he was sleeping. But the tortoise was still hours behind, because he was driving a Ferrari SF1000. The moral of the story: slow and steady wins the race, unless you're in a Ferrari SF1000. Here we are then, first race of the 2020 season. Let's find out how fast the Ferrari SF1000 is, going absolutely flat out over the start-finish straight. And I've got to say, it looks ever so slightly off the pace. Even Latifi is pulling up out of what can only be sympathy here. What's that? We're maxing out at 64 miles per hour here. This is flat out, as you can see. And that is not good at all. That is really... it is off the pace. Hamilton caught involved. This is a disaster. This is actual pace. This is a Ferrari SF1000 going flat out towards through turn 2, which isn't really a corner, but we'll allow it. And this is awful. Vettel is way off the pace here. This is catastrophic for the engineers at Ferrari there. You've got to say it's not looking great for the Ferrari here. I mean, he's going so slow, it's triggering yellow flags. This SF1000 is really going to have to pick up the pace soon if it's going to challenge in the Snail Championships. Never mind the Formula One World Championships. This is awful to see. Actually, it's really quite sad. I mean, we're looking well over a minute off the pace here, and that is a concern. Here we go then, approaching the final corner, just ticking onto the 2-minute 20 mark for the lap time. I was concerned at one point that I was going to miss next season. This lap was going to take so long, but it looks like we're just getting in time. Here we go, over the line, and it's 1 minute 17 off the pace. Not great. Really not great. It's been a big week for Ferrari then. They've brought forward their upgrades for this race, given how catastrophically off the pace they were in the first Grand Prix of the season. Very excited to see what the upgrades are going to do for their race pace in Austria this afternoon. Oh, they've crashed. Really sad news for the Ferrari team ahead of the Italian Grand Prix this afternoon. Their car is so slow, they haven't made it to the race in time, so they're not able to compete. Real shame that. Real shame. And I know the Tifosi, the home fans, are going to be absolutely devastated, and quite right too, because that is really sad. I mean, they were off the pace this season, but not making it to a race on time, that really does set all kinds of new records. Just been digging around, actually, and I've only managed to find a few things in existence that are actually slower than a Ferrari SF1000. Snail I found, which you probably expect. A Slug is slower than the Ferrari. Internet Explorer is slower, and I think we all predicted that one. Your Crush's Reply, that's definitely slower. But that's all I could find, really. I searched far and wide, and they were the only things I could find that were slower than a Ferrari SF1000. Right, well, 5 minutes having a pop at Ferrari, and I can kiss goodbye to any potential career in F1. Never mind, it was worth it. Oh, and by the way, I was only joking.